Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Your Third Base Meet Our Members series. I'm Bella. I'm the social media manager here, and I'm here with Gabriel Conover from Enterprise Solutions. So welcome, Gabriel.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, so I'm actually probably the chief solution architect for Enterprise Solutions. And in a nutshell, what we do is we take small businesses and try to provide them some of the services that you'd normally need a lot of capital for to get acquainted with, or some things that small businesses wouldn't even know they need or know are a thing. We try to connect them with those things and then provide it to them at a reasonable cost. It's really packaged for small businesses. Okay. So it's actually something that I started as a business on my own at first. And then I branched out into bringing in, I'm actually an alumni of NJIT right down the street. And I bring in a lot of my previous schoolmates as consultants. And because we're colleagues, I don't have to contract them, meaning there's no additional cost to the end user.
What are some of the services that you find that you offer the most to clients? What do people really ask for?
So the things that we get the most requests for are application consolidation. So a lot of small businesses, they do things the way they've always done it. They start tracking mileage and they go and Google mileage tracking apps, or they start doing timesheets and they type in timesheet or project management app. So they go from like a business of 10 people, but because they're on 4 or 5 different platforms, $8 a piece, they're paying like big CRM or ERP system money, like $50, $60 a person per month for apps that are disjointed. And then with all that data, they then end up having to pay someone to collect the data from each of those 5 apps and put it into the actual thing they use, like QuickBooks.
Right.
So we'll either consolidate them down to solutions that they didn't know existed, that have more than one of those things to cut their costs. Or what we'll do is, if they're comfortable with the applications they use, we'll set up custom integrations for those cloud systems to pull that data automatically into something like QuickBooks.
Nice.
So that's a huge place where we work with customers. The other would be, we started up doing like custom branding type things. So we do custom like posters, signs, logo design, storefront signage, and also uniforms. So printing and embroidering uniforms.
So speaking of branding, I know a lot of people spend time trying to figure out what their logo is going to be or design their logo. So what are maybe some elements that make a good logo for a small business?
So the biggest thing, I think, is colors. I think it depends on what your industry is, but a lot of people, they know whether they want a hard or a soft logo, like something that's more organic of a shape versus a more rigid shape. So determining which type of logo you want, and then what color scheme you want. A lot of small businesses, they have a very small presence. It's like Ray's Auto Body on the corner of this, but there's no logo. It's just Ray's. So even if, like, say Ray is your identity, making that your logo, making it in a cool font, figuring out what your colors are, maybe putting a cool design that has something to do with your business, like a wrench in that case, or a car. And really building your own brand so that you can then start to grow your appearance to the community. Because when they see that wrench or they see that swoopy Ray's in the funky purple, they know, oh, that's Ray's Auto Body, and then you can start building from there.
That's great. And that's a great point, that logos don't always have to be images. It can be the word or the text.
There's a lot of places that just have the initial, like our logo, for instance. Our main logo is actually just ES. So it's Enterprise Solutions. We do a ton of different things, but our main base logo that we use on just about everything is just an E and an S. And
then you also work a little bit on website design and development, right?
So one of the biggest ventures that we're getting into now is hosting. So now that we've helped a lot of companies or a lot of small businesses get up and running with some branding, it takes a lot of capital to start up, say, a website on your own. And you also sometimes need some technical expertise that you maybe don't have. Because there's been such a need for it, instead of having each customer individually pay for a whole like web server and setup and everything. A lot of companies just need a very simple homepage, about page, and contact us page. So what we've started to do is give companies a subdomain of one of our smaller domains so that they can then have just that. So we actually have a couple companies onboarded already.
Yeah.
We set them up with custom web pages, about, home, and contact us, and then also custom email addresses.
Oh, nice.
So instead of getting, something from K&H Bookkeeping at gmail.com, they get something from Sam at K&H Bookkeeping. So it's something where we've built off, we've seen what the market is and what people need, and we've gotten people to a certain stepping stone, and then we see what services are needed after.
That's awesome. And it all goes back to the branding, right? And
yeah, because once you have your brand, once you're comfortable with it, your employees have their shirts or whatever you choose to do.
Yeah.
Branching into something like, okay, well, now that we have a good following here in the local community, trying to put a web page out there so that maybe some people in the next town over will get used to that and start coming in.
I know from experience, website development and design, it just can get so complicated, right?
Yes.
So do you have any advice for anyone out there who's maybe trying to craft their own website?
So there's a lot of tools out there to make it a lot simpler. There's things like, for instance, like GoDaddy. I know they have like the website builder.
Yeah.
It's very limited in terms of what you can put into it. It's kind of like if they don't offer that plugin, you can't have it. That's one option, but it does have a larger cost. I think it's a couple, like $20, $30 a month if you get one of the higher marketing plans.
Right.
And then in addition, you also have to buy the domain. We, on the other hand, go with WordPress. And because of our expertise with technology, we offer it to our customers at around $10 on average per month. So they get a full web page and everything. They don't have to worry about it. And because we do WordPress with all the coding ourselves, we're able to make it exactly how they want it for a fraction of the cost.
That's great. I know. I've worked with some of those plug-and-play website designers in the past, and they can get very frustrating.
Oh, yes. Sometimes you're just like, I just want it over a little bit more.
Right, and it just won't go.
Nope.
So before we started recording, you were telling me about those business cards that you made. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, since we were working with one of our customers, and they wanted something that was a little more elegant, and basically their market is IT support help desk, which is a very saturated market. It's something where when you get your foot in the door, typically the customer will then start looking at other options, and they'll happen upon another remote help desk service that's based overseas or does it for a fraction of the cost. So they wanted something that stood out a little more. And this is actually a metal business card.
Yeah.
So it was an idea,
cool.
kind of was like, oh, we want something like the black card, where it's that black business, like that black credit card that when you hand over, it's like, oh, it carries weight because it's metal.
Yeah.
So we actually developed these for them and printed them all from scratch, designed the design for them. They have the old school, just like from Vistaprint's business cards, but we did the whole custom design for them. Color scheme, redid their logo, and then printed them all off in-house.
So you are a co-working member here at your third base, correct? So what made you decide to come work here?
So funny enough, I live right nearby, but essentially I was a member at another co-working place, and just the location, this was a lot closer.
Yeah.
And two, it was more of the feel that I wanted, more of an office space, as opposed to if you didn't own one of the offices there, you were kind of just like hanging out in a lobby.
Right.
It wasn't, there was no monitors. Like here, I love that, like if there's one open, you sit there and there's a monitor, there's a keyboard, there's coffee out front. We shopped around, looked here, and took a tour, and really liked that it was not so much 100% focused on the people who own the offices. And there was also a very simple way of booking more professional spaces, especially when it comes to having, say, events or having a client meeting. Just being able to have them come in, and it's also a very friendly area.
Yeah.
Very friendly atmosphere.
That's good to hear. I'm glad that it's been going well. What advice do you have for other small business owners out there?
So come talk to us. That would be the first thing. So all consultations are free. So the biggest thing I can give to other small businesses is ask for help. As much as your business is yours and it's, unique to you, the way you operate is unique to you, but your concept or your troubles even are not unique to you. Someone has hit that, can't pull more people in or can't find people with the right skills or they're having trouble managing X, Y, or Z. Those types of things are very common.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to ask for help in order to figure out what the solution is. It saves you some headache.
Yeah, definitely. It saves you time, right? Because I think a lot of people think they can solve a problem themselves and they end up just pouring so much time and energy into it.
And in terms of business advice, one of the biggest pitfalls that we find with small businesses is when you think cost, you think materials, you think payroll, right? You don't really think time. And the other big concept that we introduce a lot of small businesses to is opportunity cost, which at its root is if you had done something, the profit you could have made or the revenue you could have generated, that is a negative. It's considered a cost. So a lot of times if small businesses don't take advantage of, say, like the local county fairs, and that's an opportunity cost that they may lose. Or if they have people, 2 or 3 people doing the same thing, or like with the application consolidation, if they have somebody who's dedicated to basically putting information from one place to another, and that's their whole job, that's a cost, not just because of their payroll, but because they could be doing something else.
Right. So I know that you have a lot of solutions for small businesses. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you really wanted to talk about today?
No, so the one thing, I know we have a ton of things that we do. So one of the things that we're going to be launching in next week, basically, is the small business marketplace. So at its root, what it's going to be is it's a place where all small businesses, it's hosted online, they can go and kind of see a catalog of the different things that we've done and the different things that we do offer. While there is an aspect of it where, for instance, one of the things we do is like marketing stuff, so printing flyers, with any purchase that you make through there, it comes with the design service.
Okay.
So if you're, for instance, going on there to buy polos, you buy 5 polos, we'll work with you from scratch to either come up with your logo or put something together for you to kind of like make that purchase not so much the same like Vista prints where you have to have something already to print on something. This is more of like helping them get to that point where they can order stuff. And then also with some of our services, we'll be on there as well. So like our website hosting, they can kind of check out like, you hear on here that we have the website hosting and it's $10. You don't really, sure it is, but we have more details on there about what goes into it.
Right.
And you can kind of like gauge, okay, this is in my price range. I'm interested in this. And I think a lot of what we have when we go into our first consultations with people is they have questions about what we do. So giving them that link in advance to let them browse through, it will also allow us to have a starting point because they can be like, oh, well, I noticed you do podcast editing or I know you do commercial creation. And that's something that like you wouldn't think to bring up right away, but it's on there and we have samples of stuff that we've done.
That's great. And so now that people have got to listen to you talk and learn a little bit more about the business, how can they get in touch with you?
So the easiest way would be to go and email us at info@enterprisesolutionsnj.com.
Great.
It's usually the best way to get a hold of us, but we're also here most days. So if you ever want to book a time with us, just let us know. And if you have any information about what you're looking for, we'll also bring in whoever's needed. We have a master's level process engineer on staff. We have someone who does finance, is actually certified in QuickBooks. And then we have a couple other people who are on call if we ever need them to come in for a consultation.
Great. And then you have a website, right?
Yes. So it's enterprisesolutionsnj.com.
Great.
And when the marketplace goes live next Tuesday, that will be shop.esnj.net.
Great. And so we'll have that all linked in our description on our YouTube video, and we'll tag you on Instagram as well so people can very easily find you.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. And I hope that someone out there is able to connect with you and you guys can get a lot of solutions going for them.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Enterprise solutions, right?
Yeah. Exactly. There you go. It all goes back to the branding.
Oh, yes.
All right. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more episodes coming soon. Bye-bye, everyone. This episode of the Your Third Base Meet Our Members series was filmed in our podcast studio in Maplewood, New Jersey. If you'd like to learn more about our offerings, including private offices, co-working, and meeting rooms like the podcast studio, please visit yourthirdbase.com. Thank you again to Gabriel for being our guest this week, and stay tuned for more episodes coming soon.